about giving up.
Yeah.
Let's do a whole episode on giving up. I think that's so fantastic. Right?
What I really have given up. Hi, everybody. I think we're live now.
We are
Who's
live.
Here?
Yes.
Who's
Yes.
here?
I don't know that we have anybody here yet because
Okay.
I forgot to post this. So,
That is okay.
but I don't think it'll be, you guys, everybody knew that we were coming live. So it shouldn't be too long before people start to trickle in.
Yeah,
so,
they know our Thursday time.
Yeah. Yeah. So I came to the computer and I went
There
to
he is.
There he is. Yay!
Present.
All
Here she is.
We love you guys.
Yeah. We were just saying that we just had to just give up on trying to get all the things and all the links and all the things all together, all at the same time every day. It's hard.
Giving up can be good. Let's do that. Giving up can be good. I love that. I'm putting that in my video topics, my list of video topics. I think that's a good one.
You know what that really is? It's surrender. And we've talked about surrender before, which is basically like we can't win them all. We can keep trying, but we cannot win them all. And surrendering to what will be, and who will be. And of course, we have our diehards. So
yes, yeah. It's the fam. We got the Kenny and P squared fam.
Right.
That's awesome.
That's right.
Yeah. So that was a bit of because I thought I'd been holding it together. I think that's also part of the lesson is you think
illusion
together, right? Yeah.
Illusion. Illusion.
P squared. Embrace it and surrender. Yes. Yes. That's why you're our people. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I still have to figure out my whole system for putting it all up. Just because it's like I have already done 185 things today and it's only 1:00. And that doesn't mean I'm a hero. That doesn't mean I got it all together, but it's like, and also there's so many more things to do and we just, can't do it all.
Yes.
Surrender.
Oh, that's a great song, by the way.
Sing it. I don't know.
Surrender, but don't give yourself away.
I don't know that one.
Away.
I don't know that one. I'll have to look it up.
Oh, you got it. Yeah, you got to let it out. It's good. It'll get you jamming. Kenny. Yes. Yes, it's a long hey.
All right. I'll check it out.
Now I got to jam out to some Cheap Trick. I forget about them. Boy, they get me jazzed up. Yeah.
I just like the name.
Yeah.
Catchy.
Right? Yes. No. Well, I don't know.
Yeah, living under a rock over here for sure. It's really funny. There's, not a lot of times generation gap shows up, and I don't even like to acknowledge it most of the time, but there is definitely a music generation gap that I was going to say very, very, very apparent.
Yeah. Cheap Trick was like, that was, 80s that they were like the pinnacle of 80s. It was Cheap Trick, Rush, Journey, Foreigner, Supertramp. Who else, you guys? Live at Budokan. Yes. I want you to want me.
I know
yes.
That.
Yeah. Did I say Rush? Oh my gosh. God, there was Boston, ELO. That was like the sweet spot of like 80s rock. Yeah. Yeah.
Music drives me. I was just talking about it last night with a friend, and I was asking him, I'm like, so do you dance too? Like, how good is dancing and music? I have a constant and continuous stream of music in my mind. Anybody else? Like, it is constant and it changes, and I'll wake up with music in my head. Steve Miller Band, Pine Knob, Yard. Anybody? Yeah. Yard tickets. That's so funny. But anyway, I just love that for actually shifting the nervous system, truly shifting the brain, doing all the things. Like I always tell my patients, I'm like, we need to turn music on and dance more, shake your groove, like do stuff. That movement is so powerful for everything about the body and health. So,
well, and remember when we went to see Dan and Penny play,
Oh,
and how much
yeah.
fun we had dancing to music. We had no idea what they were singing. It
For
was
sure. Well, the other part, so Dr. Paul and I only met each other in February last year. I showed up to a cocktails and community event, and then this country bar opened, I don't know, 6 weeks later.
yeah. Yeah.
And so I'm at the gym when I think it was a Thursday or Friday night. I think it was
I
Friday.
think it was Friday.
I'm at the gym and she is about to lay down on the couch. And this is how our dialogue went. She sends me a text message and she's like, "Hey, what are you doing? I could just lay on the couch or we could go out." And I'm like, "I'll meet you in Brighton at such and such a time." Done. Like that is how we relate to each other. I was like, done. See you there. I'm in. We play full out. So we show up to this country line dance bar. It's literally just opened that night. And actually, our friend they were first Paula's friends. Now they're mine.
Yeah.
Anyway, they were playing there. They had the best dance party going. And we're like the only two on the dance floor. And we show up like we are high energy anyway. And then together it just becomes exponential. It's like no one else is dancing. And then they did start dancing. And then all the things, but we were first on the dance floor, first all the things. And it's just fun because why not dance? I mean, what if tomorrow's your last day? Like, why not dance and move your body, shake it up?
Well, and that's how I feel about singing because
Yeah.
there's not always an opportunity to dance, but music moves me. It sounds like it moves all of us. It creates memories. It creates this desire to just move. And so when I can't necessarily move, it forces me to sing. It's like music inspires you to do so many things.
It does.
So yeah, and which is why that's why I was telling you during the day. We also, this is how yin and yang we were. I'm in her office and she's got some classical stuff playing or so. I don't know. It was beautiful.
I did jazz on Saturday, but normally I do foreign music and I actually go ahead and tell your story and then I'll share with you why I choose the music because it's very intentional. So go ahead.
So for me, the music that I like to choose is music that I can sing to. So it needs to feel, it also needs to resonate with everybody walking in here. But like today I put on a Fleetwood Mac playlist, which is like, just so, man, it's got a great vibe with the music. It makes everybody feel good. I feel like it brings the energy down in a good way, and then everybody's in here singing. So that's my, and then every once in a while, YouTube, it'll disrupt the signal, stop playing. And it gets me grooving. Like if the music stops and there's people waiting and I'm busy and I'm moving. And I mean, I will notice that. I'll be like, where's my music? Yeah. But like right now it's lunchtime and nobody's here. The music goes off. I need silence when I'm not with people, and when I'm with people, oh my God, it energizes me. So
I have played the same playlist on shuffle of 150 songs for 18 years. And here's why. So the same song that brings me the most amount of joy can also, how music takes us places. So it can also be the same song, exact song, can bring the other person back to their worst heartache of all time. Mm-hmm. And I want none of that in my office. So my office it's not spa music. It's a little bit higher beat than that, but I want all of that out of there. And actually my office is branded with music and people don't really realize that. They're like, you have this music that I only hear here, but it's also like it's tapped in the subconscious so that I'm not triggering anybody for good or bad. Like I'm just triggering them for healing. And so, what have we got? See, Dr. P pushing down back to the beats of Boston. So, but on Saturdays I change it to actually Jack Johnson because I love Jack Johnson station. It's just groovy. It feels beachy and light and easy. So he's
one of my playlists too, actually.
Yeah. So I do just this one playlist and I used to try and do Pandora, but I don't trust the tone of the music I'm looking for. So it used to be like, oh my gosh, get rid of that song. And I was constantly telling the front desk, like, thumbs down, thumbs down, thumbs down, thumbs down. I'm like, enough. I cannot have that as part of the noise that I'm trying to focus on just grooving with my patients. So, yeah.
Well, that's a great point. Pandora tends to load your play when you put an interest in there. Let's say it's Fleetwood Mac, and then suddenly you're in AC/DC, and it's like, where did that come from? So what I've actually found is YouTube music is so true to like,
what it is.
I'll put on John Mayer is one of my playlists, right? And for just very groovy and jazzy and bluesy, and that's just such a great feel. But everything that comes in, so John Mayer or Jack Johnson gets played on the John Mayer channel, and vice versa.
Yeah.
So YouTube, I found, has been very consistent.
Yeah.
So
that's great.
I just want to say a quick welcome in to Joe from Grow Big TV. I was on his show last night, co-hosting, and we had a great conversation with a guy on composting, which, oh my gosh, ashes to ashes, dust to dust, like get your dirt so that it lives. We need living and breathing organisms starting from the dirt up. So
yeah, for sure. That's so great. I mean, that's such a part of health. So
well, we talked about that. I made that connection of the human microbiome versus the biome of the dirt, and how we're just depleting ourselves as humans, and then depleting our soils, and then we don't know why there's so many autoimmune issues, and we don't know why we have so much anxiety and mental health issues and sleep issues, and we can't connect as humans with each other. And so, well, there's a reason.
Well, I was listening to a podcast a couple of weeks ago, which is, gosh, I swear all of our conversations start with that. I was listening to a podcast because that's all I do. But it was talking about, should you buy organic or should you buy farmer's market? So the organisms that are still on whatever fruit or vegetable that was picked most recently is actually, well, minus pesticides and all of that. But if it's truly organic, it's hard to say. Organic in the grocery store. So it's better to have properly raised fruits and vegetables coming off the plant and into the body sooner than anything else, above anything else. And I just was like, that is so fascinating, because the transport system, all the things, like, it just takes from the beneficial microbiome that is on it. And I was like, that's totally legit. I love a good farmer's market. I don't like going to ours because there's too many humans at that time of the week for me. But also there's a lot of, our farmer's market has turned into more like an artisans rather than actual a lot of food. And I just want to get in and get my stuff and get out. So, but after listening to that podcast, I was like, you know what, I'm going to just hunt this down a little bit better this coming season ahead than I have in the past, because I'll go out and buy organic every single day. That's easy. But to buy it straight picked that morning from the dirt or the day before, like, just awesome. So that was pretty.
So that's I have actually had done, because I always do videos at the farmer's market. I've done multiple videos on that. And people will ask me, they're like, first of all, the most common misconception is that just because it's at a farmer's market, it's organic.
Right.
So that's just what people think. And to your point, if I have a choice between a watermelon, a melon, whatever, we'll just say watermelon, that was grown, that you picked that day or the day before, even within a couple of days, and shows up at my farmer's market. And I know my farmer, the farmer that I buy a lot of my produce from, he sprays very minimally. But if then I go to the grocery store and there's another watermelon that came from California or Brazil, I don't want that. And it's organic. I'm choosing the local.
Right.
Yeah. Because also, what about the carbon footprint?
Right.
We don't consider. And also, y'all, if you're buying watermelon in the middle of winter that comes from Brazil or Mexico, like, you don't need watermelon right now. We don't need it. So
we don't
really
need it
trying to eat as close to home as possible all year round is really your best bet. So.
The other part too that I've noticed over the years, they're trying to make seedless all the things, right? No, there's seeds there for a reason. So if you've somehow made it seedless, then like you've done some weird things to whatever that thing is. Like, seedless watermelon, super convenient to not have to spit out the seeds. Seedless oranges, seedless blah, 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 super convenient. Like, how did you do that? How did you stop the life from forming future life processes in the dang thing? Like, let's not do seedless anything. Like, check yourself. Oh my gosh, you stopped the life in that dang thing.
That's a great point.
I mean, really, like, what? How'd you stop the seeds from, how'd you stop this creature from doing its
Yeah.
thing,
Doing what it,
which is advancing itself in this world? Oh my God.
yeah, Bill, once things are picked, yes, they start to degrade. And so, yeah, what is the nutrient, the nutrition in an organic, we just keep picking on watermelon from Mexico, or one, again, that just came from an hour away and it was picked the day before.
It's amazing. Yeah.
I'll take that one. And, years ago, there's, when we're talking about food and nutrition and pesticides, and the environmental working group has these two lists, and they call it the clean 15, if you haven't heard of that, and the dirty dozen. So the clean 15 are the 15 fruits and vegetables that, if you were going to buy them conventionally, would be safer to have if they've been sprayed. The dirty dozen technically is the top 12 fruits and vegetables that you should never, ever, ever eat conventionally, because they're so highly toxic in pesticides. So, and these are things that also have skins on them that you can't, just because it has a skin on it, you can't wash it off. So, so then the argument was, well, because I love blueberries. I love blueberries and I love strawberries, especially in the summer. So oftentimes, we find those big giant blueberries, and they're so yummy, but you can't find those organically. You guys, I gotta admit to you, I'm going to buy the conventional ones, even though the environmental working group tells me I shouldn't, because I'm hopeful that the antioxidant level in that blueberry, which is one of the highest fruits of ORAC score, which is your antioxidant score, I'm hoping that ORAC score, that antioxidant level in that blueberry, far outweighs the pesticides that have been put on it. Right. So you have to, and again, it's not a Snickers bar. Right. So it's like,
right. Yeah. And, it's one of those things, like, I talk to the patients all the time about the things that you put in your body on a daily basis. Yes, we know that they build us and they grow us, and we grow cells from that. And we age appropriately according to what we put in our bodies. But our body has a certain level of, it's called a healing hierarchy, right? So we only have a certain amount of healing potential every single day. And if your body is having to heal from the crap that you're putting into it that's created inflammation every single day, it doesn't get a chance to really heal like it should. So that is the why behind why you should just feed yourself with stuff that helps. But it's also like, do your best not to assault your body with choices that you can control on a daily basis. We can't control a lot of our lives, right? We can't control what's in my air right now. We can't control what's out in our world right now. We can't always control the stresses. But if we can know that our body has only a certain amount of healing potential in per day, it's only so many hours. There's only so many cells that it can create in a day. Stop bombarding it with stuff. It has to focus to heal that first. Allow it to. Like, my patients come in and they're like, my hip hurts, and then blah, blah, blah. And it's like, that sucks and is awesome, because your body is going to choose to take the healing potential it has today and focus it on the internal organs, and focus it on the brain, focus it on the heart, the tissues, the lungs, the digestive organs. It's going to focus it there. Yes, I care about your hip pain and your shoulder pain and your headaches and all that. And your body probably needs that healing potential less for musculoskeletal, more for internal workings of getting your nervous system around in the world. So we need to realize this. This is our biggest why for the stuff that Dr. Paula and I do for ourselves on a daily basis. It's like, we want to not only get adjusted, not only do this, not only do that, but also stop assaulting our bodies with stuff, and I'm trying not to swear, but stuff that we can control, which is the things that we put in our mouths or don't put in our mouths. So
I have a friend of mine who messaged me yesterday. She did an amazing job over a couple of years of time, completely scratched out sugar from her diet, lost about 60 pounds, looked amazing, really, really changed a lot about her life and her health. And her husband he's got to be pushing 400 pounds. He's never been a healthy human, does nothing for himself, won't exercise, can't walk or stand, for any length of time. And, you know, for her, it's very frustrating because she's trying to get her health on track. So she had actually gained some of that weight back over the past several months. And she messaged me yesterday and she said, can you recommend some supplements for me for inflammation? I have arthritis in my, or she said, I have arthritis in my hands. Can you recommend some supplements? And I didn't point out the fact that she had gained some of the weight back. She knows she, you know, like, you know, when you're putting your weight in it, right? And I just said, I said, probably less likely arthritis, more than likely inflammation. And that's really when you wake up in the morning and you're like, you know, it's rare that you have degeneration in your knuckles, or like Dr. Erica and I do. We do have degeneration in our in these first joints, thanks to female hormones. That's a whole nother story. But that's the thing, is a lot of people are like, they just chalk up this pain to it's arthritis. No, it's inflammation from the garbage you're putting in your body. Like, stop.
And you set small bonfires all over the body when you do it, not just one place, not just your belly's affected. Like, you're setting intentionally, maybe unknowingly, unconsciously, small bonfires in your already inflamed places. So yeah.
And I want to go back and address this real quick with the Dirty Dozen, and the Environmental Working Group. If you are not following it, it's an incredible organization. You can actually go in there and they have different parts of their website. You can take your body care products and type it in, and they'll pull up an evaluation of all the ingredients in there, and it'll be like skull and crossbones, or ranks it on safety versus you know, how unsafe it is. And then you can get suggestions for good things. So they're also, they help with a lot of the legislation of our food system. So if you're not following, it's ewg.org. And I'll drop the link here real quick, but I do want to address this real quick. So with this Dirty Dozen that they came up with, this is great. It's a great list. But when I'm working with people on nutrition, I just have to get you off of the shit. And there, I'm saying it. So I'm not going to put stress on you and say, well, whatever you do, don't go buy strawberries that aren't organic. I at this point, just go buy the flipping vegetables. I don't give a rip if they're organic or not, because I got to get you making the shift away from the things that don't serve you. And then these are details that you can work on later. So again, love the EWG for doing this, but I also think then people are like, you know, as again, they're piling down their Snickers bar. They're like, well, I get better go buy, you know, organic strawberries.
Yeah, no, just do one little small thing, because it really is. It's such a big issue in our health, is the stuff that and now mind you, we are not perfect either, but we're conscientious about it. And
we
it
like
is
tequila,
about
I'm just saying.
Yeah, we're big tequila fans. But, you know, one of the things, like, it used to be, I don't even know when this would have been, probably like the early 90s through the 90s, early 2000s, which is like, read labels, read labels, read labels, read labels, read labels. I am of the belief, and I know you are too, of this orange doesn't need a label. This is an orange. Like,
yeah, right.
Less label reading that you can do in general. Like, this is a piece of chicken. This is salmon. This is lettuce. Like, no labels. So work towards just having the awareness of having less labels in your life to read. Like, it definitely, it served its time. It served its place. Reading labels is an important part. However, having whole foods, which is basically what it is, there's no labels anywhere anyway. Like, this is what it is. So one ingredient foods.
So I have what's that?
Do you want to talk about principle number 3?
I know we do. I have to do one final comment on that. So I do have a workshop, and it's called Label Reading, that I wrote 20 years ago. And one of the things that I always say is, I love and hate this workshop, because if you're reading too many labels and you're getting confused, you're eating too much from a box, and you need to just go buy some fresh fruits and vegetables. So, but I do think it's important to teach people so that they can go, this is not good for me, and put it down. And one of the slides in my workshop is a pack of apples, and I haven't seen them in years. So hopefully they've taken them off the market, and they're called grapples. And they were marketed towards kids. They're grape flavored apples. They've been injected with artificial grape flavoring to make apples more appealing to kids. Now, I don't know any kids that don't like apples. So I was so mad at this. I was like, what in God's name, whose ridiculous idea was this to take a perfect fruit and then inject shit into it to think that maybe it was going to be more appealing to kids? Like, so you got, and so if you're like in the produce section and you're looking at that and you're like, that's interesting. Why is it called a grapple? It's a grape flavored apple. So I had to say that because
thank you for sharing. Yeah. I don't know if any of that's still around. It probably was pulled off the market for weirdness or GMO or something. It was
let's hope.
That's
right.
great.
Yeah. And the inflammation that it's going to cause. So yeah, right there. So, okay. Do we want to, I know this is great. We could keep talking about nutrition.
Yeah.
We got to get principle number 3 in.
I know it is part of it. It's a big part of it. And that's, one of the greatest things about being a chiropractor is that it is all encompassing. We've talked ad nauseum at this point, and we're only just a couple of months in, but eat well, move well, think well, get your water, get your rest, get adjusted. And so, but we are helping people in the best way we can to just have a little bit more awareness that let's do something as simple as even adding more oxygen to our body. Like, we're going to keep it really simple for you. So there's 33 principles that the profession was based on. There was a beautiful, elegant book written and published in 1927 called The 33 Principles. And we are on principle number 3. So the first one was the major premise, which is basically that there's a universal intelligence moving through everything. The second one was the chiropractic meaning of life, which is the expression of that intelligence through the body. And then the third one is the union of intelligence and matter, which is life is necessarily the union of intelligence and matter, which is sort of sounds like I'm saying the same thing over and over and over. But it's so much about what we're talking about, which is like, this intelligence is going to do the best to move us through our day, to heal us, to do all the things that it possibly can to do Thursday, January 25th, and all the things that requires. And so that is the most beautiful part about it, is that it's animated through our incredible body. And this body, the only thing that separates it from moving around in the day is when we take that intelligence out and it goes into spirit form and people pass away. And it's really profound. I had a new baby and last night, the very end of the day, and it's like that egg and sperm came together and created this. And then the intelligence moves through the matter. So union of intelligence and matter. And that is truly life. And the taking those two apart, that is death. And that's the only thing that changes. So
can you say it again. It's so simple, but it's so profound.
Yeah.
And I really want people to understand, like, there's no on and off switch for the human body. So say that again.
So the union of intelligence and matter, life is, this is truly, thank goodness you're here to figure out what life really is. Okay. You're here for it. The union of that intelligence with the matter, through the matter and matter. So we have, one of the parts of this further down the road is we have limitations in the matter, which is like, if you have an injury or aging or all the things, like, there's limitations there. And we also, as we're talking about controlling what we put in our bodies, that the intelligence has to work with whatever that is, like the matter that you put in your body, the matter that you are, and it has to continually work through it. And that's life.
Yeah.
It's life.
Think
that's
about
amazing.
Babies in the womb without air. Like, let's just think about that. Babies are growing in the womb without air, connected to a hose within the mother. Like
true.
Literally, think about it. And then they're born and they get exposed to air. And what's the first thing they do?
Yeah, scream their head off.
Because that's the intelligence.
Yeah.
The intelligence is life now being breathed in, and now they go from a watery sac to
Air.
Like, it's crazy to me.
It's crazy.
They're breathing water, fluid. How does that even happen? That is not, it is explained by science, but I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's pretty profound.
Flat out intelligence. So
yeah,
I want to, at this point, I want to preface this because Dr. Erica had an experience, and it was really profound. And we promised you a really incredible story from her. And when she called me, it gives me chills just to think about, and the way she described it to me, it was like, whoa, like I could feel that energy she was experiencing. So, and she experienced the chiropractic principles. So I'm going to let her take over, but I just wanted to pre-frame that for you. So if you're not listening, get back, come on, come back.
Turn up your hearing aids.
Turn up the hearing aids, turn up the volume a little bit, and pay attention. Because yes, we're at 31 minutes. So if you need to go back, come back to the 31-minute mark and pay attention.
So just to preface this, and I won't be sharing any names or anything like that, which is how we'll always share our stories on here. Well, we won't ever share names unless we have someone sitting with us. But I have had these patients under care since I started. So I am going on 19 years on March 12th, and they have been under care for 18 years. So right from the start. And so I've had this woman and her 2 kids who are adult children, and one of them has their own family. And so anyways, I've followed this family. I've been part of their lives. They've been adjusted weekly I'm not exaggerating when I say this. They've been adjusted and in my office weekly for 18 years. A lot of people choose chiropractic like that, in that way. And so I've been with this family, like they're close. People become like family to us. Really, really, like I love my patients like I love my own family. I don't treat them like my own family. They're not invited to my house like my own family, but you're family to me and I'm family to them. So anyway, I followed this woman through, and she got really ill in August this year, and they couldn't figure out what was going on. And so anyways, I'll keep this story as long story short as possible. For the last 6 months, they've been in and out of ICUs and all the things. And I've been part of the journey because I'm still seeing these adult children who are friends of mine. And anyway, a little bit of backstory. My dad passed away 2 years ago. And once I sent a message to this sister, then the brother was one of the next patients on the table. And I started adjusting, and he knew, and I knew that he knew, and he grabbed my leg in the middle of my adjustment as I'm working with him. And he just like sat up on the table and just grabbed me and rocked me. Like, these are the experiences. This is how close. And so they're very, very close to me. And so they called me and said, hey, my mom is headed into hospice on Monday. And then, so I just following through the week, like, how are you guys doing? What's happening? How's she doing? How are you guys doing? So like, okay, this was Friday. And you find me on social media, you'll find me on that day in the outfit, because I wasn't planning on having the day. I didn't know when I woke up that day that this day was going to be like it was. But I ended up out at the place. So I came in and got an health infusion here at the office. And then I got the text, hospice says it won't be very much longer if you wanted to come by. And I'm like, I do not want to disturb your guys' peace. Like, I'm not family-ish. I'm not true blood. And I don't want to disturb her peace and whatever. So I was like, should I go? Should I not? I was getting the infusion. The nurse is like, I was talking to her about it. My sister-in-law is the nurse that does infusions here. And so I was like, I don't know. Should I go? Should I not? Should I go? Should I not? This is what I can tell you. When life opens invites to you, say yes as much as you can. And I got filters for that too, but this is like a say yes. This is not, our life is here this is a time to do more, not less, which is another thing I live by. So I go over and I'm like, I don't know what I'm walking into. So I walk into the room, and the daughter is on one side in a chair and a neighbor is there, and they're just hanging with this patient of mine. And so with her mom. And so I'm standing there and we're just chit-chatting, and she's in this really, really peaceful place. so peaceful. And I was so grateful to just be invited to the bedside. I was like, I'm so glad that I showed up to just hold space, not to adjust my patient, not to do anything, but just hold space and be there. So we're sitting and chatting, and I'm getting to know this neighbor a little bit. This neighbor happens to know my family, grew up close to my family. And so we're just talking and whatever, talking about my dogs and just whatever. We're talking about literally whatever and hanging with the patient. So all of a sudden we're in this deep laughter, and all three of us look over, and the patient had passed, and her innate intelligence and what was animating her body literally slipped out of the room. And when she did, all three of us felt it. So it was so profound. And I have not attended death. I've attended birth. I have known of death. This is actually the fourth patient that's passed in the last 2 months. Unfortunately, I think that's just what's happening with life right now. They're all older. So anyway, all three of us turn and we're like, oh my goodness. Like she just, I don't know how to say it. Like there's no words to describe it, just lifted out of the room. And when that happened, I'm standing, these two are sitting, I'm standing, and the whole room, not through overwhelm. No, there was no way to describe what had happened, but the whole room did a 45-degree turn on me to the point that I was like, I need to sit down. And it stopped and all was fine. And I was fine. And I didn't black out or pass out or anything. It was literally like the innate intelligence that we speak to on the daily, not daily, but weekly here, more frequently soon. That intelligence left her body. And the most beautiful part about it was I was able to sit with the daughter for another hour while the body was there, the matter was still there. And it was so evident. And this happened with my dad too. I wasn't there for his death, but I was there for about 2 hours later when the coroners were about to come and pick him up. And it was like, that is just the matter. And if have any of you been there for a death, this is literally a first for me. And to have it as a patient is like just my deepest, greatest honor. And it's also such a stark contrast to working with the life force every day, to have then known and been intimately involved with this patient's life force that had just been liberated. Anyway, I still don't have the words. And maybe I don't need them, but my logical part of me is like, figure out how to land this experience, land it somewhere. I can't, and that's okay. So fortunately, I have Dr. Paula in my best friend in the back pocket. I made a video on the way there, and I was like, I'm going, and I got the call, and I get to go, and I'm going to take this because it's a great honor. And then when if we were to go back, it was just like, it's literally like this, like no words. There's nothing to describe it except for that life is so precious and moments are so precious. And not just that moment, like every moment, this moment, whatever you guys are doing right now, not just listening to us. Yeah. A soul, spirit, soul, whatever, whatever it is, it means way more. Not to me now, but it's like, it's so evident that this is just a cycle, and make the freaking most out of every day in your cycles. So
don't take it for granted.
Yeah.
Well, a couple of things too that I wanted to share as you share that experience is, how often have we heard? So first of all, you're saying you don't know how to describe it, much like when I had just said about explain to me why a baby can live in the womb without air. It's indescribable. And sometimes it's just the emotion that comes from attempting to describe. And maybe it's not even trying to land it somewhere as much as it is just sharing that experience to help create the impact.
Yeah.
And how many times have you heard about people whose souls have left when somebody walked out of the room to go to the bathroom, or they just took a little break, and you talked about the three of you were all distracted looking at something, and then you looked back and she was gone. Like it's almost like her soul was like, I gotta, oh, they're busy. I can go now.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And you had said to me, because I think this is really, really profound, the way you described it to me, that it left. You said it was like a vortex that came through the room and
yeah,
which that visual was like, oh, that makes so much sense, right? It's like a portal that just, spiraled up and boom, it was gone, right?
To the point that I was like, I need to sit down. Like, I'm going to fall down. I need to sit because I don't know what that was. It was so wild.
It's experiencing innate. I mean, like we're animated, right? So we're like, yeah, we are innate intelligence. But the fact that you could experience innate intelligence moving through you like that was like just crazy.
And
right?
It really is the unexplainable. Like, how do we explain our heart beating? How do we explain our chest rising? How do we explain our ability to digest? How do we explain our kidneys doing what they do? It's the unexplainable. And of course, we're always trying to explain it. But really, as chiropractors, we're just trying to magnify it, to allow it to do its job better. Whatever that is, we do not know. There are no words.
Yeah. And and all the stories that we have of people that they just have these unexpected surprises within their health and how they feel, how they're experiencing life, what they're doing, how they're connecting with people when they're under chiropractic care. And there's still, I always say, I expect miracles, but I'm still blown away when they happen, because you can't help but be like, just jump for joy when that happens, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's amazing. And so I work with a lot of pregnancy, and I work with their spines, but then I turn them over, and there's some round ligament work that I do. And I'm a trained pediatric prenatal and postpartum chiropractor. And not everybody is. Dr. Paula is, but there's not everybody is. So if you're looking for a chiropractor, just be mindful that you really want someone who has a lot of great experience. But then I turn them over and I'm working on the round ligament, and I'm like, there's a baby in there. Like, there is a baby. And this is how naive. And I say this every time. When that baby was in last night, I was like, this little one, and she's only like 5 pounds. She's so tiny. And it's like, I'm still in such awe. And I think that that's probably what makes us really good chiropractors, is we never get over this awe of this force that creates life, and that we're here and we get to help. And it's amazing.
It's never taken for granted, I guess. Right. So, and I think it's also a great reminder for us to not take for granted our gifts that we're able to bestow upon people.
Yeah.
And, that's what we want for each and every person is to be able to express to your absolute fullest, whatever that looks like for you.
Yeah.
And this is really interesting. I did not realize that the soul has weight. That's really interesting.
There's actually a really great movie, and I forgot what it's called. It's like certain amount of grams, but anyways, it's this beautiful love story of these two, but it's called like The Soul. It's based on the weight of two souls. Anyway, it's a really beautiful movie. If you ever squirrel.
I know. Well, and I see we're coming up on time, but I'll share in another episode, because we're going to continue to talk about life and innate intelligence and the miraculous things behind that. But there's a really incredible book called The Soul After Death. Mm-hmm. And so it speaks to this innate intelligence and what happens after it leaves the body. And I have a pretty incredible story of my own that I've never shared with Dr. Erica that aligns with that. And it's pretty freaking mind blowing. So I'll be sharing that with you on a future episode. And do we want to, I'm trying to think, are we dangling the carrot of what the next one is? We know you want to read number 4, but we're not going to talk about it, right?
Yes. Oh man, it only gets better from here.
Oh,
Okay, so
woo!
we'll review. Number 3 was the union of intelligence and matter. Life is the union of that intelligence and matter. So that's what life is. And that's why I did want to share that story. And it was just so divine timing to be able to share and have that experience. And my heart is like forever shifted, and to have a little bit of that. Yeah, life is the union of intelligence and matter. And I love that you have, I'm just realizing your ticker across the bottom of our screen is pencil number 3. 2 in the present. I'm like, oh, we have an NBA ticker down at the bottom.
Leave it up to me to figure out all the things all on my own.
Okay. I know every week we have an upgrade.
I know, right? Yeah.
I'm out here spinning around in the world. Thank goodness Paula lands us. Holy mackerel.
Yes, please watch the replay. Leave a wonderful comment. The more comments you leave us, the more we can get this message out, the more YouTube will share our videos. Make sure that if you are in here watching, even if you are lurking and you are not in the comments, please leave a thumbs up for us, because that still helps us to rank. So, so lurkers, you can hit the thumbs up. We still won't know who lurkers you are or where you are. Okay. So yeah.
We see you. We don't actually see you, but thank you for being there.
Yeah.
So number 4 is the triune of life.
Let me type this.
That's so much better.
Okay.
Life is the triunity, having 3 necessary united factors, namely intelligence, force, and matter.
I'm just going to shorten that. The triunity of intelligence, force, and matter. Okay. Okay. There's number 4. We'll leave it dangling on that one. Oh, it's going to be
it's going to be a doozy. They're just going to get better from here. And look at how we have a long way to go.
Oh my gosh.
We got a long way to go. The other
Bring your knife and fork, because those are going to be juicy.
Yeah. Pack a lunch.
Yeah.
So one of the other great things that is happening in both of our worlds through our social media presence through this is that we're getting constant and continuous connections with some really cool people. So we are realizing we're already expanding and touching, and we have this ripple effect out there that we're not even really knowing until the next person says, hey, I saw your blah, blah, blah. I saw you and Dr. Paula, blah, blah, blah. So we are here for it. And we're also really open to all those direct messages behind the scenes. Like, you want to chat, you want to do whatever, you want to maybe be part of this. We're really going to ramp up. Dr. Paula's like, let's do daily. I'm like, wow.
I didn't say daily.
I know.
But I could have.
I know you. Yeah. No, but it really is. It's like, the more we're doing, the more it's like that supply and demand. The more we're doing, the more it's like being called.
It's snowballing.
Yeah. For us to move into it. So please just hang in there with us, because we got some freaking awesome places we're going. So
yes. Yeah. People are reaching out to us wanting to be a part of this show. And so
what's sexier than that?
Right? What is sexier than that? Woohoo! So we're working on these things. And so would love topics, private message, send an email, but anything that's interesting to you with regards to chiropractic. But we'll always the next 28 to 30 shows is going to be rolling out the chiropractic principles. So we thank you guys so much for being here and being a part of this. This thing is getting legs. It is gaining traction. And we appreciate all of you for engaging and being team chiropractic is sexy. So yes, for sure. All right, you guys have an amazing day, and we will see you. I'll see you Sunday for Dr. Ruffin, Dr. Paula's Sunday Night Live. And I'm going to have Bill Nash on talking his story about his wife and what he went through for when she was sick. So it's gonna be a great story, impactful. It's going to speak to a lot of people. So join us Sunday at 6 p.m. All right. See you guys. Have a great weekend. Bye.